Welcome to a lesson by the National Ready Mixed Concrete Association. The lesson consists of a video followed by a short quiz. As a mixer truck driver, you might not think of yourself as a vital protector of our environment, but you actually are. It doesn't matter if you deliver to a residential, a commercial, or a highway construction site. When you rinse off your chute at the end of a delivery, how you handle the rinse water has a huge impact. Cities, counties, and the federal government require drivers to not only rinse off their chute correctly, but to also do so in the designated area on the construction site. Those regulations are in place to make sure that the water from rinsing your chute doesn't run into a storm drain, a sewer drain, or down a pathway that leads into clean water sources. Briefly, we also want to mention two other reasons to rinse your chute correctly. The first is, it is a part of your company's fleet preventative maintenance program. The second is, no one wants leftover concrete flying through the air, hitting other vehicles, or spilling onto streets, roads, and highways. Before we go any further, let's make the important distinction between two commonly interchanged terms: concrete washout and rinse off. Many times the term that we use for rinsing off the mixer chute is job site washout. Well, technically, that's misleading. Generally, washout refers to flushing out accumulated concrete in the interior of the mixer truck's drum or barrel with 150 to 200 gallons of water. The task is typically done at the batch plant. The drum is rarely, if ever, washed out at a construction site. What we really do at the job site is we rinse off our chute. That takes far less water, just 5 to 15 gallons. As a result, we're going to discuss washing out the concrete in your drum in another lesson. In this video, we're going to discuss the correct way to handle chute rinse off at a construction job site. Now, in doing so, we're going to examine various methods to get your chute clean while not violating any environmental regulations. What I want to leave you with now is that a careless act of rinse water running down a sewer or drain, either because a mixer driver isn't paying attention or because he doesn't really care, can be seen as negligent and harmful to the environment, not only by authorities, but also by the public. Nowadays, this can be easily documented even on an observer's cell phone. But far more important is that following proper procedures for chute rinse-off is the right thing to do. We must all take a personal responsibility to keep our water clean. It is a time-old practice to rinse your chutes with water to make sure that when we leave the construction site, excess concrete does not fall onto our streets and highways or become a hazard to other vehicles. We also clean our chutes to help with the mixer truck preventative maintenance programs because the weight of hardened concrete creates stress on the chute. Trying to remove the hardened concrete with a hammer is a good way to damage the chute. Washing the chute with water while the concrete is still fresh is a much better way to keep the chute in good functional order. Even though it takes just a short time for mixer drivers, pump operators, or finishers to rinse off their equipment into different containment systems, it is an important task. Specifically, as it relates to this video's lesson, if the water you use to rinse off your chute is managed incorrectly at job sites, a driver can open the door for the developer, the contractor, the subcontractor, your ready-mix concrete company, and you, the mixer driver, to personally incur fines. With all of these factors in mind, when environmental inspectors visit a job site, and they closely watch all water and how it is managed and where it flows, they include assessing the chute rinse-off process. Why? That water chemically changes when it reacts with the concrete remaining on the chute. We can see the impact on the clear water as it becomes gray from the sediment it picks up. Chemically, the water's alkalinity, or pH, increases to the point where it could seriously hurt the environment. Here's where the environmental compliance becomes critical. Specifically, under the 1972 Federal Clean Water Act, all construction sites that disturb 1 or more acres of land are required to implement water pollution prevention plans for construction activity. In the case of delivering concrete, the plan must contain procedures that will prohibit harm that could be created by the sediment and other pollutants associated with the chute rinse-off water. As it relates specifically to us, job site contractors and ready-mix producers must work together to develop plans and procedures before construction begins. The BMPs must include preventative maintenance measures if certain events occur, such as the rinse water flows into natural waterways where it could harm aquatic life, or the rinse water and concrete sediment migrate into storm drains, they could become clogged and partially blocked. Or, if the water used in the chute rinse-off process leaches into the ground, it can contaminate the groundwater naturally found below the construction site. Therefore, to manage our chute rinse-off process in this lesson, we will discuss 3 topics: setting up proper procedures for job site chute rinse-off, different chute rinse-off techniques, and staying environmentally compliant on a site that does not have a designated chute rinse-off area. Typically, before the first load of concrete is delivered, the site's procedures for chute rinse-off must be thoroughly spelled out so the project can be granted its various building permits. The permit that focuses on the water pollution prevention plan will include the requirement that the concrete chute rinse-off area must have various controls in place to prevent drainage to surface waters, including ditches, creeks, rivers, ponds, wetlands, or lakes, whether water is present on the site or not. The permit will also include controls for drainage ways such as pipes, culverts, and catch basins. These water pollution prevention plans must be in accordance with our various laws and regulations. Now, your company management knows what mixer drivers must do to be compliant and to protect clean water. Let's discuss the chute rinse-off process step by step. First of all, to reduce the amount of rinse water needed, when you are done delivering your load, scrape off all of the excess concrete into the forms or the pump hopper, or a proper area designated by the contractor. When finished, move to the designated chute rinse-off area. It should be, but may not be, easily accessible with a well-marked clear pathway. The chute rinse-off area should be laid out so that you can safely walk around the mixer, and if at night, the area should be well lit. As you begin to climb the ladder, remember to use the 3 points of contact. When on the platform, take a moment to first rinse the drum's interior fins. Then, rinse off the top of the discharge hopper. Move on to the main chute. Next, rinse off the fold-down chute, and end with rinsing off the extension chutes. You will more than likely clean them while standing on the ground. As a mixer driver, Dispatch should make you aware of any site conditions and procedural expectations that are a part of your delivery process. If what you experience on the job site is not what you understand from dispatch, relay your observations back to the dispatch office or to whomever is on site representing your company.
Hey man, come here, hurry. I need to get you to wash out on the ground. We got 300 more yards to come in. I got a pump truck sitting over there and you're in the way. You need to wash out right in this area and then get gone.
I see this storm drain down here. I'm kind of concerned that some of my water is going to go in there and contaminate the system. Hey Mitch, I'm out here at the warehouse on the north end. I got this contractor that's upset with me. He wants me to wash out into a storm drain, and I'm afraid some of my washout water is going to go into it. What would you have me do? Okay, I'll wait for company representative to show up and I won't move until they get here.
By the same token, if details such as these are not clearly laid out in the building permit, there are accepted methods for handling the concrete remaining on the chute at the end of the delivery, and we're going to talk about them later on in the video. Job site permits have very specific guidelines on mixer truck chute rinse-off requirements that will protect clean water. There are a number of different chute rinse-off systems that can be used. So let's look at the different rinse-off systems, and I want you to remember, the driver must use the system specified by the job site permit owner. The oldest chute rinse-off method allows rinse water and fresh concrete remnants to fall directly onto the ground. The rinse water then evaporates while the concrete residue hardens overnight. The next day, construction site workers break up the hardened residue into small pieces and they dispose them in the site dumpster. This procedure is still acceptable in a few areas, but it is rapidly becoming a thing of the past. Another routine is to rinse a chute into a sediment containment system. Sometimes it's simply a wheelbarrow. More often than not, it is a larger shallow basin or pit, typically off to itself, with its location posted so that a driver can find it. Some may be made with bales of hay and lined with vinyl. Others are just vinyl-covered portable containers. In either case, rinse water will evaporate and the hardened solids will be broken up and removed as warranted. Metal portable roll-off containers are another system. Some have a rain cover to prevent overflow. A few are accompanied by an on-site wash water treatment system. At periodic intervals or at the end of the project, these bins with their contents are hauled away to a concrete recycler. In another method, the driver attaches a rinse-off bucket to the end of the chute. As he hoses it down, a screen captures sediment, while the water drains by gravity into a separate holding tank attached to the truck. When the driver is back at the plant, he disposes the remains. Other bucket methods use a pump system to transfer the water back into the drum. Some mixer trucks mount a chute rinse-off box on the back of the truck. After the delivery is complete, a driver attaches the extension chute to the washout box. He then rotates the main chute over the extension chute. When done, he rinses the hopper, then the main chute. He ends by rinsing the fold-down and extension chutes hanging on the washout box. With all the rinse water and solids in the box, it is taken back to the plant for recycling. Whatever chute rinse-off system is used, the job site permit owner must comply with conditions of the permit. It is the mixer driver's responsibility to follow the procedure and notify his company if the procedure can't be followed. An example would be when a containment system is overflowing and the chute rinse-off would spill onto the ground. In some instances, a construction site will have a chute scrape-down only policy, which means that drivers are not permitted to rinse off their chutes on the job site. Chutes are just scraped free of surplus concrete before the mixer pulls away from its delivery. This typically happens in heavy traffic areas. In these cases, many companies' mixers use a chute closure device before heading back to the plant where the chute cleaning is completed. Chute closure devices can be rigid, and if so, they're usually made of aluminum. They can also be flexible, and in this case, are generally rubber with steel brackets. In either instance, they are designed to cover the whole chute opening when the second stage flip chute is in the up or stowed position. They fold down and out of the way when this chute is flipped down to discharge fresh concrete. The policy to use a chute closure device can be required by some cities and counties even if chutes are also rinsed off on site. And in some instances, producers choose to install chute closure devices as a part of their operational and environmental policies and procedures as a positive statement that they are being considerate to others in the community. Whatever the reason, the closure caps are used to prevent damage to others' windshields and small chunks of hardened concrete or coarse aggregate from falling behind the truck and getting in the way of oncoming traffic. Well, in this lesson, we've discussed your role as a mixer driver in the chute rinse-off process. Now, we've also talked about the negative impact that improper chute rinse-off water can have on the environment. If the routine for the chute rinse-off process isn't executed as regulated by the law, then everyone involved, including you, the mixer driver, can be held legally responsible. It is your responsibility to adapt to each job site's authorized requirements and to notify the company if there is a problem. In a limited number of cases, the water and sediment from rinsing off your chutes can fall onto the ground. However, on the majority of the construction sites, the rinse water must fall into containment equipment or a bucket or a box attached to the end of the chute. Finally, it is important to remember that not all delivery sites allow chute rinse-off. In these instances, this information should be known before the delivery occurs. Your dispatcher should let you know beforehand. When this is the case, often the chute closure device is used and chute rinsing occurs at another location. As a mixer truck driver, you must do your part in keeping the environment safe and protecting clean water. As a driver and a member of the ready-mix concrete industry, we want you to take pride in and absolutely 100% of the time comply with all chute rinse-off requirements. As a driver, you are a member of an industry that is absolutely committed to a protected environment and clean water for everyone, now and for the future. There are 5 questions on this quiz. After you answer all 5 questions, you will immediately receive your score. If you pass, you can print your certificate of completion. If you do not pass, you can retake the quiz or rewatch the video.